Hey there YouTube, I just wanted to do a how to change the oil in a Can-Am Renegade 1000 XXC. Mine happens to be a 2021, but really across the board, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but pretty much they're all very similar. If you are any at all handy and have the right tools, this is really a piece of cake job that you can do yourself and save yourself a little bit of money. So in order to get started, some things you want to make sure you have. Just for simplicity and for this video, I just went ahead and I bought the kit, which comes with the right amount of oil, the oil filter, and here's the oil, which is 0840, and then replacement O-rings. I'll give you 2 sets, but and then as far as tools, a 17mm socket with an extension, a screwdriver may be necessary to get the cover of the oil filter off, and then a T30 Torx. I put it on a swivel and an extension just to make life easier. Just kind of zoom in on where the anatomy is. Of course, this is your oil fill. You'll need that, know where that is. Obviously, put the oil back in, and then I'm going to try to do my best to point. See this nut right here? That's where you're going to, hopefully this focuses for us, but that's where you're going to unscrew and drain your oil from the motor itself. And then over here is where the oil filter cover is. You just got to remove these 3 screws right here, and then you have a pry point where you can pull right here to pull the cover off if it happens to stick. But you'll do that second after draining the oil, and hopefully it doesn't make a mess everywhere. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on doing this, and I'm going to put you in my 3-legged assistant over here and hopefully get a good angle for you to see what we have going on. Get the oil pan on the ready. Roll up my sleeves. Get it loose with the socket, and I just take the socket off as everything ends up getting covered. And what I do is I try to put some pressure up to really slow the draining of the oil before I'm ready to move my hands out of the way. It's already starting to come. Just like that. This is the first 50-hour change, and I really like what I see. I mean, really, the oil is still golden brown, but when you make this kind of investment, you don't want to skimp. And what I'm also looking for now, there is a magnet in this oil plug. I'm just checking for oil filings, and there's a little bit there, but nothing that I'm too terribly concerned about. Here's the O-ring, the metal O-ring that'll put the new one on when you put it back in. So while that's draining, I'm going to take some WD-40 and really clean the filings out of here and really dry it out and really clean it up and so forth, and then before I put it back together. I'll pause you for the time being. Alright, so I cleaned it up. I don't know if you can tell, but got all the metal filings and sprayed it down in WD-40, cleaned it out, and then I took a paper towel, dried up all the WD-40, because obviously I don't want that to contaminate the oil. So it's all dried up, nice and cleaned up. If you have an air compressor, you can also blow it out too. That's another way to do it. So I'm going to set this up here. We're down to a drip on the pan. It's the oil, the main part of the motor. Now we'll go ahead and get started on the T130 screws, the 3 of them. So pull the pan over to where you can get both the existing drip and then I like to get them just cracked for starters. And hopefully you can take them out by hand ish. Using the maybe not. Helps if I put it on the right screw. Knucklehead. Reality is, this is a lot easier than even some cars. And of course, with this service, more important if you live in a dusty environment. Of course, we've had so much rain lately, we haven't really had to worry about dust too much. But you really want to maintain your oil air filter religiously, because that'll destroy a motor faster than old oil. Of course, these screws are brand new, but you know, obviously you want to inspect them every time. They're in good shape, don't need to replace them. Now, and there's the oil filter. Drain out here, stuck right to the cap. It's not horrible, but it's not great either. It's actually dirtier than the oil, which is interesting. So we'll let that drain out of there. Come to a drip dry. So I have some residual oil on my fingers, and I'm just kind of rubbing my fingers around the oil O-ring. Just kind of put some oil on there. Place the O-ring. Pushing it in place. Good fit. Put the oil filter back into the cap itself. good rule of thumb is get the screws started. What I do is I run them into just before they make contact. It's good mechanical practice. Make sure all the screws are started on the assembly before you actually start tightening them down. Then once I got them seated, I kind of tighten them as tight as I can with my hands. That way it's fairly evenly seated against that gasket. Probably a little type A for me, but now that I get it started, then I get it, see how tight I can get it without the ratchet. Okay. There is a torque specification. I don't know what it is. But it doesn't need to be crazy tight. You notice I'm just using the grip right here so I don't over tighten them. Okay. Using a rag, a throwaway, we'll clean up the oil that didn't drip off. Much as you can, because it will burn. And I don't know about you, I don't like that smell. Guess I could pressure wash it, but now, prepare the drain plug. Put the new provided metal gasket on. Slides right in. Here's my rag. Alright, all done? Nope. Time to put the oil back in. Now the good thing about the kit is it actually comes with the exact amount of oil. Gives you 2 quarts in this little micro quart here. Let's see, just 16 ounces on this one. So I don't know, and this, you may know this already, but there is a right way and a wrong way to pour oil out of an oil can. If you pour it like this into something like that, dumbass, it'll glug on you and, you know, spit all over the place. But if you pour it with the opening towards the top, it allows the air to go in nice and smooth, and you can really control your pour. And I should be able to get away with doing this without using a funnel. I'm gonna actually do it sideways, which is probably not gonna fare well for me. Before I do that, I'm going to very carefully clean out that dirt. I mean very carefully. So I started it to get the oil to pump in through the oil filter and fill it back up again. Because it was full, I wasn't able to get all those quarts in. Clean section with a rag. In order to get a proper level on the dipstick, you got to screw it all the way in and screw it back out. And it's at the top mark, so I guess we're full. And that is how you change the oil on a 2021 Can-Am Renegade XXC 1000. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you, and see you on the next video.